Ladies and gentlemen, the procession to the field house has begun.
The moonlight, love will set us free. If we just believe, the best is yet to come. Show me your smile, I'll fill it with laughter that will light your mind. As long as we believe, the best is yet to come. Can you see what I see on the road ahead? Do you know there's a new life there? Waiting there. Give me the world and I'll give you heaven. Love will set us free. As long as we believe, the best is yet to come. Show me your smile, I'll fill it with laughter that will light your mind. As long as we believe, the best is yet to come. Can you see what I see on the road ahead? Do you know there's a new life there? Waiting there. Oh, give me the world and I'll give you heaven. Love will set us free. As long as we believe, the best is yet to come. Baby, don't you know that as long as we believe, the best is yet to come. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, please silence your cell phone and other devices. Will you please rise or remain standing as we sing the national anthem led by alumnus Rob Brown.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Good afternoon. I'm Catherine Davey. It is a privilege to serve as Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs at the University of Michigan-Dearborn, and it is a pleasure to welcome you to the university this afternoon. Please join me in thanking Rob Brown once again for his rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. On behalf of the entire university community, we are delighted to have you join us to celebrate Dr. Domenico Grasso's inauguration as the 6th Chancellor of the University of Michigan-Dearborn. Our gathering today is a celebration of the University of Michigan-Dearborn's 60-year history of academic excellence and regional impact, as well as an opportunity to welcome a new and distinguished leader as we entrust the stewardship of this university community to Dr. Grasso. He undertakes his responsibilities at a time when universities across the country are looking to reinvent themselves and the educational experience they offer students. An evaluation is underway of the ways in which our campus delivers transformative educational experiences designed to make every student successful during their time at UM-Dearborn and beyond. The influence of Dr. Grasso's thinking is already apparent in this process, and today he will expand on his vision and aspirations for UM-Dearborn's next 60 years. Becoming a university chancellor is an act of passionate commitment to the academic values of excellence, free and rigorous inquiry, civil debate, diversity, and inclusion. Dr. Grasso approaches the challenges before us with unwavering dedication to these core values. In his short time among us, he has become abundantly enthusiastic about our students, our faculty and staff, our alumni, and the community he now calls home. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you members of the platform party and guests, beginning with the regents of the University of Michigan who are elected by the citizens of the state of Michigan. I ask that each individual stand as you are introduced, and I ask the audience to hold your applause until after each group is introduced. Regent Paul Brown, Regent Ron Weiser, we are equally honored to have with us from Ford Motor Company, Henry Ford III, University of Michigan President Mark Schlissel, and Prairie View A&M University President Ruth Simmons, who will serve as our keynote speaker today. We are delighted to count among us the following elected officials: Karen Whitsitt, Michigan House of Representatives, 9th District. Leslie Love, Michigan House of Representatives, 10th District. Jewel Jones, Michigan House of Representatives, 11th District. Alex Garza, Michigan House of Representatives, 12th District. Brenda Carter, Michigan House of Representatives, 29th District. Jack O'Reilly Jr., Mayor, City of Dearborn. Erin Burns, Councilwoman, City of Dearborn. Leslie Herrick, Councilwoman, City of Dearborn. Randy Carter, Councilman, City of Pontiac. James Hart, Councilman, City of Westland. And the Honorable Annette Jerkowitz Berry. We are deeply appreciative of your commitment to UM-Dearborn in particular and to higher education in general. I would also like to recognize the University of Michigan executive officers and senior leaders, deans and administrators from the Dearborn, Ann Arbor, and Flint campuses. Our inauguration marshals and flag bearers and student poem author and reader Matthew Falconer. Last but not least, as well as members of the University of Michigan-Dearborn faculty, whose excellent scholarship and abiding commitment to teaching built the university we celebrate today. 60 of our alumni have joined us representing every graduating class from the university's first class in 1962 to the 2018 graduating class. Delegates and representatives from 20 universities and learned societies comprise particularly important guests today. Your participation in this ceremony symbolizes, in a deeply meaningful way, the worldwide community of scholars of which UM-Dearborn is a part. We are honored and grateful that you have joined us. And we warmly welcome Chancellor Grasso and members of Chancellor Grasso's family who are seated in the audience, including his wife, Susan, their children, Ben, Jacob, Elsbeth, and Caitlin, his brother, Alfred, and his wife, Michelle, his mother-in-law, Shirley, brothers and sisters-in-law Terry, Dale, Bill, and Trina, and future daughter-in-law Molly. Welcome. Congresswoman Debbie Dingell was expected to be with us today. However, urgent business kept her in Washington, D.C. She has prepared a brief video, which will be screened momentarily. Congresswoman Debbie Dingell represents Michigan's 12th district in the U.S. House of Representatives, where she has made it a priority to be a voice for the Midwest on issues that matter most to working families. As a member of the House Committee on Energy and Commerce, Congresswoman Dingell has made significant contributions to efforts to grow manufacturing, improve access to quality, affordable health care, support seniors and veterans, and protect the Great Lakes. Recognized as one of the 25 hardest working members of Congress, Congresswoman Dingell is focused on forging bipartisan solutions that support Michigan families and the state's economy. Before being elected to Congress, Congresswoman Dingell worked in the auto industry for more than 3 decades, where she was president of the General Motors Foundation and a senior executive responsible for public affairs. She served as chair of the Wayne State University Board of Governors and continues to fight in Congress to make education more affordable and accessible. Debbie, as we call her, is a true friend of UM-Dearborn and can frequently be seen on campus. Please play the video.
Hi, it's Congresswoman Debbie Dingell. Congratulations to Domenico Grasso today as he's being inaugurated as Chancellor of the University of Michigan-Dearborn. He's joining a community of scholars and students that share a passion for learning and making the world a better place. His leadership is more important now than ever as we enter an era where education is changing rapidly and there's an urgent need to prepare students for the challenges we face as a society. Chancellor, you'll find Dearborn a wonderful home. Congratulations on your inauguration and best of luck in your new role. I just wish I could be there with you today.
Thank you, Congresswoman Dingell. We were notified late yesterday that Jim Hackett, President and Chief Executive Officer of Ford Motor Company, was called away on company business. He sends his regrets and his congratulations to Chancellor Grasso. We are pleased and fortunate to have with us today Henry Ford III. Henry Ford III is the great-great-grandson of Henry Ford and serves on the corporate strategy team at Ford Motor Company. Since joining Ford in 2006, he has spent time in labor relations on the UAW Ford National Negotiations team. In purchasing, as a vehicle program analyst, and in marketing and sales, working in global product marketing, as a sales zone manager for Los Angeles area Ford dealers, as the Lincoln sales and marketing manager for the Western United States, and as the global marketing manager for Ford Performance. Prior to joining Ford Motor Company, Henry worked for Carney Sandow and Associates, where he recruited new teachers and helped place them in schools across the country. He then became a full-time educator, teaching middle school and high school math and history. He has served on the Board of Trustees for schools in Michigan and Massachusetts, and he currently serves on the advisory board for Henry Ford College in Dearborn and Bridging Communities in Detroit. He currently serves on the Board of Trustees for the Ford Foundation, the Henry Ford Museum, Operation Hope, and Neighborhood Villages. Henry holds a BA from Dartmouth College and an MBA from MIT's Sloan School of Management. Henry.
Thank you very much. As the stand-in for Jim, I'm not supposed to make any mistakes, and I already didn't stand up when I was supposed to stand up. I apologize. Don't tell Jim. I wanted this to go flawlessly. I was also notified late yesterday. He called me, and I was in the car, and he said, Henry, I need a favor. And I said, Jim, you're the CEO. I think I'm contractually obligated to grant any favor you ask of me. And he said, I have a commitment tomorrow at the University of Michigan-Dearborn, and I'm not able to make it. And given the family's long connection to the university here in Dearborn, I really want a family member to stand in for me. And then in full transparency, which Jim always provides, and I want to in turn provide to you, he said, you were not my first choice. I called your cousin Bill, who's our chairman. Bill has a commitment at the Lions. I called your father, who's Etzel. He's away in Japan right now. And then I called you. So I'm fourth in line. I feel okay about that. I hope you're okay with that. But I really am delighted and honored to be here with you today. And I'd like to speak with you about the value of partnerships, more broadly at first, and then obviously more specifically about the important partnership between the Ford Motor Company and the University of Michigan-Dearborn. Earlier this week, I was fortunate to spend time with some of our community leaders here in Detroit as they were sharing some of their work in rebuilding the city, with an emphasis on the alleviation of poverty and the strengthening of neighborhoods and surrounding communities. A common theme that emerged was the importance of partnerships and how critical they are to solving long-term systemic problems such as poverty and education. We were joined by representatives from the mayor's office, from community groups such as the Brightmoor Alliance, Motor City Blight Busters, and the Live 6 Alliance, from foundations including Kresge, Ballmer, Wilson, Fisher, and Ford, and from business, including Dave Meador, the vice chair of DTE and co-chair of Mayor Duggan's Workforce Development Board. The people I've just listed represent a small fraction of the larger coordinated efforts that are underway to improve the lives of people who live in our communities, and it brought to life for me the absolute necessity for all of us to work together in partnership to find the right solutions to building a more inclusive economy for our region, including Detroit, Dearborn, and all of our neighbors and fellow citizens throughout the region, state, and country. A specific example of just how powerful these transformational partnerships can be is illustrated by the University of Michigan's work with Marygrove College, DPS, Starfish Family Services, Kresge, IFF, and others to create a holistic educational model that nurtures our children and our communities from cradle to career. The P20 partnership, as it's known, which will provide educational, health, and other wraparound services ranging from prenatal through age 20, is a shining example of how the public and private sectors are working together to build holistic and community-based solutions to create a more prosperous future for all of us. And I am so proud of the work that the University of Michigan is doing to lead that charge. The partnership between the University of Michigan and Ford is another example of how monumental progress can be made when organizations work together to solve problems. The research alliance between Ford and U of M will be absolutely critical as we work to develop the rapidly advancing technology and innovation that will enable the promise of using increasingly intelligent vehicles to satisfy the societal need for a safer, cleaner, less congested, and more efficient transportation system in the future. For over 115 years, our mission at Ford has been to advance human progress by providing freedom of movement. And it's as vital, if not more so, now than it ever has been. We have the opportunity to design and build a better transportation system that improves lives, but we cannot do it alone. and we depend on the students and faculty of the University of Michigan to help move us forward. In addition to the research alliance between Ford and the University of Michigan, which here in Dearborn now encompasses over 65 projects and funding of over $1 million, we are working together on several other initiatives to strengthen our communities and make people's lives better. Through grants and scholarships from Ford, students at U of M are engaging in projects like the Ford College Community Challenge, where students rebuild underutilized spaces to create libraries in communities that have low reading levels and build apps to provide electronic homework support for English as a second language students. Whether it's the U of M Formula SAE team or the U of M Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, the university and Ford are utilizing resources and funding to match student talent and knowledge in their field of study with local nonprofit needs in order to tackle complex community problems. I am so grateful and thankful to have a partner like the University of Michigan-Dearborn right here in our backyard to tackle these problems with. And I am also proud to say that we currently have several thousand alumni from UM-Dearborn working at Ford. And I am also proud to say that in 2017 and 2018 alone, more than 500 Ford alumni employees have enrolled in undergraduate and advanced degree programs in the university. And so, as we continue on our journey, everyone in this room continues to be a critical partner and plays a key role in many ways. Chancellor Grasso, as you are inaugurated as the university's 6th chancellor today, on behalf of the Ford Motor Company, we congratulate you and we look forward to our continued partnership as we work together to create better and brighter futures for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. We could not be happier that you agreed to join us today. Thank you. I would like now to introduce Dr. Mark Schlissel, the 14th president of the University of Michigan and the first physician scientist to lead the institution. Since beginning his presidency in July 2014, President Schlissel has launched initiatives in the arenas of academic innovation, biosciences, diversity, equity, and inclusion, poverty solutions, and precision health. A summa cum laude graduate of Princeton University, President Schlissel earned MD and PhD degrees at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine and completed residency training in internal medicine at Johns Hopkins Hospital. Conducting postdoctoral research under David Baltimore at MIT's White House Institute. President Schlissel is a board-certified internist. President Schlissel began his career as a faculty member at Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, where he earned a number of awards and fellowships for his research and teaching. He moved to the Department of Molecular and Cell Biology at the University of California, Berkeley, and served as the department's vice chair. He later became Berkeley's Dean of Biological Sciences and held the C.H. Lee Chair of Biochemistry until his appointment as provost at Brown University. Nationally, he has served as a member and chair of the Immunology Biology Study Section at the National Institutes of Health and on the Howard Hughes Medical Institute's Scientific Review Board. President Schlissel was elected to the American Society of Clinical Investigators and the American Association of Physicians. He's also of the American Association for the Advancement of Science and a fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. President Schlissel has helped organize major international scientific meetings and is a frequent seminar speaker at universities throughout the United States and the world. And I would add, speaking for everyone in our community, that we have been so grateful for your partnership since you became president. President Schlissel.
Thanks very much, Provost Davey, for that lengthy introduction, very kind introduction. And after hearing Henry talk about being the third or fourth speaker, I'm going to have to go back and ask the search committee whether I was the first choice or the fourth choice or something, but it all worked out fine. So it's really an honor to be back here in Dearborn and celebrate this important moment for the University of Michigan. It's a pleasure to see our students and faculty and staff from all across the university, and I'd also like to acknowledge Board of Regents Chair Ron Weiser and Regent Paul Brown, who you heard about earlier, Dearborn Mayor Jack O'Reilly, and many other elected leaders. Professor Joy Beatty, the incoming chair of faculty governance for the university as a whole, SACUA, who I've enjoyed working with over the past couple of years. And of course, UM-Dearborn is nationally recognized for its engagement with the community, so it's no surprise that so many friends and partners are here today as well. All of you collectively represent the power and the promise of this great university. So thank you all very much for contributing to our success. Let's give a round of applause. I congratulate, of course, Chancellor Grasso and his family and welcome them back to the Michigan family. Chancellor Grasso brings with him an outstanding track record of leadership and achievement. He's a U of M alumnus and a distinguished scholar, having published influential research and earning prestigious honors in his discipline of environmental engineering. He's a veteran of the United States Army and was the founding director of Smith College's Picker Engineering Program, the first engineering program at a U.S. women's college. He's also, of course, off to a fast and productive start here as Chancellor. Just last month, he recognized the accomplishments of the professors, lecturers, and students at the campus's Honors, Scholars, and Faculty Awards ceremony. He's leading a strategic planning process for the U of M Dearborn, which includes students, faculty, staff, and community members. He's engaged with alumni and donors, including events in this region and throughout the nation. And he's excited about the future we all share. It's a future made brighter by the tremendous value of a regional public university, where connections to the community, its people, its economy, and its future are deeply embedded in the public ethos. I mention these distinct qualities of U of M Dearborn because they've been hallmarks of the quality here for decades. In fact, Dearborn's first chancellor, Leonard Goodall, recognized this potential when he led its transition to a full university back in the 70s. He said, people in urban universities come together from a wide variety of academic, economic, and ethnic backgrounds. Campuses such as U of M Dearborn must build upon this diversity as it's part of the educational experience. Chancellor Grasso has enhanced this essential aspect of our university, including his core values, diversity, inclusion, and community engagement. And viewing the potential of a diverse and well-qualified student body who may lack privilege but do not lack ambition, and setting the campus apart. This is a very special day for all of us. U of M Dearborn has long been a pipeline of innovation, of talent, and of hope. Your research brings innovation to American industries in the midst of major transitions and solutions to pressing urban challenges such as poverty, public safety, and cultural conflict. Your graduates, the vast majority of them, stay in our state, bolstering employers and enhancing communities in need of locally engaged leaders. And families from this region and beyond know that their students will be empowered to achieve their dreams and transform their futures. I've seen this firsthand. Last year at your spring commencement, I had the pleasure of meeting U of M Dearborn difference maker and Chancellor Medallion recipient Monica DeRoche. Like Chancellor Grasso, she's a first-generation college student. Monica spoke about the amazing talent and perseverance of her fellow graduates during her commencement speech. My journey to graduation, she said, more closely resembles a climb up Mount Olympus than a walk in the park. We've reached the finish line of this journey and the start of the one to come, and we have done it together. There are so many ways in which we can now give back to lift up others in the same way. We can all find inspiration in Chancellor Grasso's career of helping others as well. In addition to teaching and research, he shared his expertise broadly, including with the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, and the legislature of Peru. I know there are many more impactful stories ahead for U of M Dearborn, and I congratulate everyone on this momentous day. It's now my honor to introduce Ruth Simmons, who will deliver the inaugural address. Ruth Simmons is president of Prairie View A&M University, a scholar of Romance languages and literature, and a great friend and mentor of mine. She previously served as president of Smith College for 6 years, and then Brown University from 2001 through what I thought was her retirement in 2012. But it came as no surprise to me that she felt that there was more good work to do. As she told the Texas Tribune, it was the students that drew her back, their determination, their commitment to try to better themselves, she said. While serving as her last provost at Brown, I learned an extraordinary amount from Ruth. She taught me that a university has to be open and honest about its own history in order to build an inclusive and truly excellent community. At Brown, she commissioned a report that examined the role of slaves and the Atlantic slave trade in the history of the university, the first such self-study of its kind in higher education. She also led Brown University in its transition to need-blind admission in 2007, a critical step on the pathway to building a diverse learning community. Her assessment of her current role at Prairie View further gives us an aspirational model for a new chapter in the history of U of M Dearborn. I want these students to know, Ruth said, that they are fit to be in any setting, fit to be with any people they encounter, fit to learn from a lot of different settings. Please help me welcome President Ruth Simmons.
Thank you, Mark, so very much. Good afternoon. Oh, boy. Good afternoon. Members of the Board of Regents, President Schlissel, faculty and staff, students, guests, it is such a great pleasure for me to be here today to celebrate the installation of Domenico Grasso as Chancellor of the University of Michigan-Dearborn. It's a pleasure for me because Chancellor Grasso is one of the finest men I have met in my long career in higher education. That he should be elevated to a leadership position in higher education is welcome in an age in which more than ever we need highly capable, ethical, and empathetic individuals to lead universities through a period of challenge and change. Chancellor Grasso, from his earliest days in the academy, has shown himself to be committed not only to excellence in teaching and scholarship, but also to the welfare of communities. After all, he is one who sought to contribute to the inclusiveness of society by turning down a tenured professorship at Columbia University to start an engineering program for women at Smith College. The women engineers of Smith are ever grateful to him for his efforts on their behalf. And over his career, he has demonstrated time and time again that he is motivated by what some may perceive as old-fashioned values. He tries at a deep and genuine level to do what is good and just. I'm delighted to see both him and President Schlissel working together. Mark, it's great to see you again and to know that you are also leading a great university with the right values. You have brought to presidential leadership in the academy a wise and informed approach that is especially important in these times. Tough-minded and honest, you are what we need today to save higher education from itself. Now, let me depart from these remarks to just say, how lucky is the state of Michigan to have two men who worked for me here in Michigan. I couldn't resist that. Mark and now Domenico stand shoulder to shoulder in work that is at great risk today. In today's world, when cynicism grows about a perceived tide of corruption in higher education. We know that, at its core, higher education remains the principal hope for maintaining a national commitment to discovery, innovation, inclusive access, and informed citizenry. For where else can we look today for actions and access that guarantee phenomenal advancements in knowledge and steady improvement in bringing groups from the margin into the mainstream of society? The work of universities is, after all, to serve society, to advance progress, and to solve enduring problems that impair our ability to understand fully the factors and phenomena on which our very well-being and that of our environment depend. This work also entails helping society understand better the lessons of the past, the cost to us of privileging false facts, the threats to bonds of civic cooperation, and the dangers of abridging or curtailing basic rights. Higher education makes known and elevates the importance of research, affording a free society the advantage of insights that provide a ballast against regressive actions. Further, higher education protects the rights of those who are on the advancing edge of knowledge to impart facts and findings without interference. In a world in which multifarious means of communication with few constraints and standards spew out dangerous and unexamined assertions, we are teetering today on the edge of a new dark age, where citizens are not only unable to recognize erroneous information, but often confirm and act on such information in a way that dramatically upends forward progress. But universities stand solidly as an antidote to the misinformation poisoning our brain waves and our airwaves. As the public continues to lose confidence in so many sectors today, universities must be doubly attentive to the potential for the public to lose trust in what they have represented so well over the centuries. What is that? A commitment to truth, a commitment to ethics and scholarship, a commitment to transparency in how new knowledge is uncovered. Now, I can probably tell from my age, I began my scholarly journey on the cusp of desegregation and coeducation. I studied first at a black college, small black college, Dillard University in New Orleans. I've been a student of women's education, studying at Wellesley and playing leading roles at Spelman and Smith. I've studied and worked at the so-called pinnacle of higher education, earning a PhD from Harvard, spending 10 years at Princeton, and 11 years at Brown University. Through all of those experiences in the academy, I've worried consistently about the risk that universities might undermine their standing by failing to align their righteous missions and estimable values with what they do every day, their ongoing decisions and actions. They just need to match up. My concern is even greater today as we see repeated evidence of ethical failings within higher education that point to a significant detour from the high standards that so many once associated with higher education. So what's creating this behavior? Some ascribe it to the insinuation of money into the priorities of university leaders. In a fierce battle for resources, they say, we make compromises that tarnish our reputations. How do we do this? By currying favor with donors, by admitting students for whom they advocate but who do not merit admission, by rushing flawed research results on experiments and data that do not actually confirm stated findings, supporting teaching that is de minimis and dumbing down content and requirements, or tolerating illegal or unseemly behavior in the service of competitive advantage. The list is long and growing longer by the day. So my students and others often ask me, what are we to do in this current climate? First, we can insist on a positive environment in which young people can thrive at the top of their ability. Such an environment will offer students the benefit of being consistently exposed to opposing views and an academic experience replete with challenges that hone students' ability to withstand personal and intellectual challenges over the course of their lifetimes. I know you must have heard, as I hear every day from students, they really don't want any speed bumps at all in their lives, and certainly not in their college careers. They come in to say to me sometimes, somebody said something unkind to them. And I have to be very careful with my reaction when they do that, because my first instinct is to say, grow up. But I want you to know I don't say that right away. Instead, I try to help them understand that encountering that kind of interaction prepares us well for the reality of living today. And that instead of complaining about it, we should be learning to deal with it. And it's one of the things our institutions definitely should not be doing is representing to students that they should be comfortable on our college campuses, hearing no opposition, hearing no unpleasant ideas, hearing no one challenge who they are as human beings. Thinking of our institutional umbrella as one that generously covers those whom we seek to serve is a promising image that guides us toward the right behavior. And in that sense, we can more forcefully assert our commitment to equity and inclusion. A lot of people think to talk about equity and inclusion, you have to say idiotic things about how wonderful everybody is. Everybody's not wonderful. We can be truthful, we can be honest, and we can still embrace the ideal of inclusion. This is a good moment also to reflect deeply on the ways in which our institutional actions, unwittingly or purposefully, provide comfort to purveyors of deceit, abuse, corruption, neglect, exclusion, and discrimination. It's a good moment to contemplate our responsibilities as educators to uphold the highest standards in the way we conduct ourselves personally and professionally in the continuing struggle for human dignity. In the struggle to represent the importance of mutual respect, we can utilize our robust and inclusive governance systems to showcase how communities can work together on contentious issues. We can dedicate ourselves to fair treatment on our campuses, for the unfair treatment of any individual or group should have no home in institutions that purport to be ethical and high-minded. Importantly, the public must be able to see us striving constantly to be fair in everything that we do. We can use our unique vantage point for truth-telling to speak for those who do not have the same level of safety and autonomy to disclose uncomfortable facts. Persistence in upholding our commitment to these kinds of actions will, I think, in the end, not only have a positive effect on our campuses, but will also build on the reputation of universities for fairness and truth. While we must have a laser focus on the fundamental scholarly work on which our sector rests, the fact that we've come to represent standards and values in regard to civic life demands that we continue to engage pressing questions of fairness and justice. Our task must be to assist the communities we serve in grappling thoughtfully with significant dilemmas. For what is the good of knowledge if it does not model the critical thinking that has so often rescued man from the brink of catastrophe? Universities have been around for a long time, and for a good reason. The oldest university was founded in 859 AD in Morocco. The University of Bologna after which much of what we do in this country is in part modeled, was founded in 1088. How many institutions do you know that last so long? That endurance is born of the hardiness and relevance of our uniquely useful attributes. Think of the implementation of Title IX in colleges and universities and the ways in which universities have led the redefinition of equal opportunity for women. The ensuing destruction of stereotypes that impaired the ability of women to live full and open lives as athletes, leaders, and achievers is an all-important byproduct of that era. The beneficial results for women are still today being realized. Think of the role that universities have played in dismantling formal segregation. Kenneth Clark's Dahl research was a landmark effort in the application of scholarship to eradicate the willful social constructs that denied basic rights in order to preserve exclusion and advantage. Think, too, of the modern-day truth-telling sweeping the academy, where universities are rewriting their histories to correct lies that became part of their official histories. These are the kinds of endeavors that cling to universities and burnish their standings. As universities, we don't need to succumb to false and prettified narratives. Instead, we can present a picture, pocked though it may be, of integrity, commitment to truth, decency, fairness, and dedication to knowledge. It's only when we embrace the bold and unambiguous work of standing up for the values we espouse that we deepen the public's belief in our worth and the integrity of our product. In preserving the respect of the public, no matter what the challenges of the time, universities will continue to flourish. And we know when universities flourish, knowledge and know-how advances, contributing greatly to the well-being of society. Everyone here is part of the magnificent work of preserving the public's trust. Please take good care of my friend Domenico. Permit him to be the person that he is, and he will serve you well. And to him I say, you have been a bulwark against exclusion and elitism. Continue that work here with an understanding that you offer a wonderful example to the rest of the world. Thank you for all that you have done and for the work that you have come to do at this important institution at this important time. Congratulations, Domenico, and Godspeed.
Thank you, President Simmons, and thank you for President Mark Schlissel and for Chancellor Grasso. Recognized as one of the world's most successful violinists and educators, Zhang Zhao is the trustee's distinguished professor of violin at the University of Delaware, where he served on the faculty with Dr. Grasso. He has performed with more than 100 orchestras worldwide, and for 3 United States presidents, 2 Chinese presidents, and many other European leaders. Hundreds of music students from China and the US annually attend the internationally acclaimed Master Players Music Festival he founded in Delaware. Chang holds Bachelor of Music and Master of Music degrees from the University of Michigan. He is accompanied by Christine Delbeau. Christine has performed to critical acclaim worldwide and in the nation's most prominent concert venues, including the Kennedy Center, Carnegie Hall, Boston's Jordan Hall, and Philadelphia's Verizon Hall. She has also performed in chamber music recitals with principal members of the Philadelphia Orchestra, the Chicago Symphony, and the Los Angeles Philharmonic. Welcome, John and Christine. Thank you, Sean and Christine, for that outstanding performance. We now turn to the formal installation of Domenico Grasso. Throughout his extensive career in higher education, Domenico Grasso has led significant efforts in the areas of engineering education, enrollment management, diversity, and community engagement. In his recent role as Provost and Chief Academic Officer at the University of Delaware, Dr. Grasso led the campus through a variety of initiatives, including the creation of the Division of Enrollment Management, Cybersecurity Initiative, Financial Services Analytics Institute, and Community Engagement Initiative. He was also instrumental in the development of the university-wide programs ranging from entrepreneurship to the humanities to social science and arts programs. Earlier in his career, Dr. Grasso was the Rosemary Bradford Hewlett Professor at Smith College and founding director of its Picker Engineering Program, the first engineering program at a women's college and one of the few at a liberal arts college in the United States. Dr. Grasso earned his PhD in environmental engineering from the University of Michigan and his master's and bachelor's in civil engineering from Purdue University and Worcester Polytechnic Institute, respectively. Most importantly, Domenico Grasso is the first chancellor to have earned a Michigan degree. It is now my pleasure to introduce University of Michigan Regent John Weiser. Regent Ron Weiser is chair of the UM Board of Regents. He formerly served as U.S. Ambassador to the Slavic Republic post 9/11. He and his wife Eileen established the Weiser Center for Emerging Democracies and the Mary H. Weiser Food Allergy Center. Regent Weiser is a strong supporter of the UM-Dearborn campus, including support for the new engineering laboratory building. I welcome Regent Weiser to the podium to formally install Domenico Grasso as the 6th Chancellor of the University of Michigan-Dearborn. Regent Weiser.
Before I start the formal installation, I would like to make a couple of remarks. Number one is I was not required to do this, but I was really, when I was given the invitation, it was something that I thought was very, very important because of the importance of this institution and the quality of the person who is being installed today. So I was excited to come and do it. The second thing is there's a lot of challenges they give you. We had to put these heavy robes on, and I thought they were short enough until I hit those steps. And for those of you who sat over there, so I tripped twice, almost did it again over here. And then they have this hood that they give you, and that sits and pulls in your neck as you're trying to talk. And thirdly, they have you sit with these heavy robes under these hot lights and then make you near the end, and you get kind of dry. And then finally, they left this on my seat, and it's a medallion that they didn't tell me exactly what to do with, but I knew I shouldn't drop it. And I had to stand up several times, and it's about 5 pounds. And I'm not quite sure what I need to do with it, but I'll figure it out. So now with firm conviction, I'm pleased to invite my fellow regent, Paul Brown, to rise and for Dr. Grasso to join me. The Constitution of the State of Michigan, Article 8, Section 5, establishes a body corporate known as the Regents of the University of Michigan. One of the duties prescribed for the Regents is the election of the President and other executive officers of the university. In March 2018, the Board of Regents approved the selection of Domenico Grasso as Chancellor of the University of Michigan-Dearborn beginning in August of 2018. This ceremony formally installs him in that office. By the authority vested in us by the people of the state of Michigan, we, the duly elected regents of the University of Michigan, do hereby install you, Domenico Grasso, as the 6th Chancellor of the University of Michigan-Dearborn on this 12th day of April, 2019. We pledge our faithful efforts to join with you and your colleagues in advancing the great work of this university through teaching to increase the knowledge and wisdom of our students, through research to push forward the frontiers of what is known and understood, to maintain academic freedom and thus serve the citizens of Michigan, this nation, and the world. On behalf of the entire Board of Regents, I congratulate you. And I think this is when I do this.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Please be seated. Thank you. Thank you. At lunchtime, I had some remarks, and I talked about all the things I learned from Ruth Simmons. And believe it or not, I forgot the most important and cardinal rule that I learned from Ruth Simmons, which was never to follow her as a speaker at an event. So unfortunately, I didn't have any control over the organization of this, but here we are. So good afternoon, family, friends, regents, colleagues, students, alumni, elected officials, delegates from other institutions, and special guests. Welcome. Thank you for being here on this very special day for the University of Michigan-Dearborn. As someone who has spent the majority of his professional career in the academy, I am deeply humbled by this ceremony and honored to stand before you as the newly installed chancellor of this extraordinary campus that is an integral part of the nation's top-ranked public university. Of course, I know very well that I would not be standing here were it not for the support, encouragement, and guidance of many people provided over many years. With that in mind, I would like to take a few moments to express my sincere gratitude to those who have been especially important in shaping my life and my career and bringing me to this place. First, I regret that my parents are not alive to share in this event. I know that if they were, my father would have been very proud. And my mother would have actually believed everything that was said. However, my brother, Alfred, is in the audience today, and I know he doesn't buy any of it. Of course, my mother-in-law, Shirley, who's also in the audience, would proffer, correctly I might add, that my single greatest achievement was marrying her daughter Susan and being the father of 4 amazing children that are all with us today. Susan, my soulmate and best friend for over 30 years, has been my greatest source of unwavering encouragement, astute insight, and alternative perspectives, all of which have been indispensable to my growth and my success. She is an accomplished engineer, a devoted mother, a supportive partner, and a profoundly thoughtful and good-hearted human being. And to our children, Ben, Jacob, Elspeth, and Caitlin, I say that as honored as I am to assume the responsibility of Chancellor today, the title it gives me the most pleasure and pride in life is and always will be that of Dad. As an aside, and just for the record, our family can claim a total of 4 University of Michigan degrees, but Susan lays claim to 75% of them. So, also, to my delight, our future daughter-in-law, Molly, who's also in the audience, will be adding to that number as she was just accepted to the MBA program in Ross. Although he could not be with us today, I would like to thank Dan Little, my predecessor, for his 18 years of outstanding stewardship and leadership, and for helping to facilitate this transition. And I'd also like to thank Bernie Klein, who's also in the audience. He served as interim chancellor 3 times between 1979 and 2000, and he deserves a round of applause. I also extend my special thanks to my longtime mentor, Ruth Simmons. It was Ruth who years ago talked me out of another offer at another institution by articulating the global impact that a university leader could exert given the right platform at the right institution at the right time. Back then, Ruth asked me to start a distinctive engineering program in a liberal arts environment, and to do it the right way because, quote, women must not accept so marginal a role in so important a field. It was an offer and a challenge that I couldn't refuse, and a decision that I've never regretted. I want to thank Mark Schlissel for a thoughtful search process and for your support over the past 8 months, and also for calling Ruth during the search process as a reference. In the past months, I've had the privilege of working closely with Mark, and during that time, I've come to know him as a brilliant, thoughtful, and ethical leader. Moreover, Mark has been an unwavering supporter of and advocate for the regional campuses of the University of Michigan. And Mark, in case you haven't noticed, I always make it a point sitting next to you during our executive officer meetings in the hope of some horizontal gene transfer. My sincere gratitude goes to the University Board of Regents for trusting in and having faith in me, and for all that you do for all 3 campuses of the University of Michigan. And special thanks to Congresswoman Debbie Dingell in absentia, who along with her late husband, the legendary Congressman John Dingell, has always been a strong advocate for and supporter of higher education and our campus. And special thanks to our guest artist, world-acclaimed violinist Sean Gao, and his accompanist, Christine Delbo, for their outstanding performance today. Finally, I would like to thank the university executive officers and the U-Dearborn faculty, staff, students and alumni, and community members for their warm and welcoming embrace of Susan and me as we transition to Michigan. It is terrific to be part of the Michigan family once more. During my life, I've witnessed, as many of you have witnessed as well, the vast changes in the way we live. I've seen communications technologies advance from rotary phones to iPhones, from black and white television sets layered with static to digital streaming on devices that were unimaginable 20 years ago. I've seen the introduction of nanotechnology and biotechnology, the development of precision medicine, and the triumphant sequencing of the human genome. I've watched automotive technology evolve from heavily polluting engines to electric cars and autonomous vehicles. And yet, in so many ways, and despite the long list of breakthroughs, our progress has been imperfect and incomplete. After all these years, and after all the advances, we still struggle with issues of social equity, with poverty and homelessness, with climate change, with skewed and unequal access to affordable health care and quality education, with the persistence of discrimination, and in some cases, with the lack of even basic civil rights. Although the life expectancy of North Americans has climbed from 69 years to 79 years in my lifetime alone, we are now seeing a disturbing decline in our longevity due to the opioid crisis, obesity, and an uptick in suicide rates. Clearly, as a society, we are confronted by a superabundance of challenging and complex problems. In thinking about our shared and collective and common predicament, it is not difficult to see the vast potential of higher education to function as an agent of change and a means of serving the greater good, the common good. This is, after all, a hallmark of a Michigan education. From the very beginning, our founders believed that Michigan would be a university where all, irrespective of financial circumstances or station in life, could access and benefit from a very special academic community. This inspirational organizing principle became part of our lore. Michigan would dedicate itself to providing an uncommon education for the common man. Whomever may have first authored this sentiment knew then, as I know now, that for our collective success and enlightenment, all people must have the opportunity to be educated, and educated well, so that they, with multiple perspectives, could assume positions of prominence and leadership in our society, and from that vantage point, affect positive change in the world. Not surprisingly, this powerful and often latent potential of the common individual has been the leitmotif or recurring theme throughout our nation's history. Certainly, there is nothing derogatory or demeaning, nothing pejorative, or even counterculturally elitist in the word common. On the contrary, in a nation that was created of the people, by the people, and for the people, there is a certain pride that derives from being an everyday common person. It was during some of the fiercest fighting of World War II when Roosevelt's Vice President, Henry Wallace, delivered a speech in which, looking beyond the end of the war, he called for a coming century of the common man, for an end to economic and military elitism and imperialism, and the building of global cooperation by and for all human beings. Indeed, it was Wallace's idealistic and perhaps chimerical post-war view that inspired Aaron Copland to create his fanfare for the common man as a tribute to the importance, value, and dignity of the common classes. Being a first-generation American, a first-generation college graduate, a first-generation military veteran, I join with others who proudly claim roots in the group of common Americans whose strong desire it is to have a productive and fulfilling life and to leave our world better than we found it. This has been the compelling narrative of our United States, that neither lineage nor wealth are necessary determinants of success. Truly, of any place or time in history, it has been this nation that has raised the potential of the common individual to near iconic and noble status. Alarmingly, we now find ourselves in an era where wealth disparity is at an all-time high, and where the role of the common individual is increasingly marginalized and threatened. To be sure, we cannot allow this marginalization to go unchecked. As a society, we can ill afford not to capitalize on the diverse wisdom, creativity, and capacity of the vast majority of our population, the common people, who must themselves be prepared and committed and allowed to play a significant and deterministic role in Wallace's vision for the century of the common man. It is truly remarkable that during the most desperate moment in our nation's history, the Civil War, when the very survival of our Union was at stake, President Lincoln took time to consider and sign the Morrill Land Grant Act, and that was to promote the liberal and practical education of the industrial classes. It was clear then, as it is now, that the future of our nation was tied to educating the sons and daughters of farmers and merchants, tradesmen and laborers, to educating the common individual. It is widely agreed that these land-grant schools have been a major force in the economic and cultural success of this nation. However, as time has progressed, land-grant schools have become increasingly selective in admissions and increasingly focused on research. Not surprisingly, it is regional campuses such as UM-Dearborn that have become a natural, necessary, and welcome complement to realizing the vision of Senator Justin Morrill in educating the industrial classes, the common individual. U of M-Dearborn for decades has provided access to a high-quality, affordable education and is woven into the fabric of southeastern Michigan, addressing the needs of our citizens through strong partnerships with industry and the community. Serving the common good has been in the DNA of the University of Michigan from its birth. In fact, the Dearborn campus was founded as a University of Michigan partnership with Ford Motor Company. And as we all know, it was the genius and hard work of Henry Ford that took a high-priced and rare, or at least uncommon, commodity, the automobile, and made it available to the working class. He transformed the lives of the common people by giving them autonomy, mobility, and independence. Today, Ford is continuing that tradition by reinventing the auto industry, introducing new initiatives, and championing a user-centric, holistic approach to personal mobility that will lead to revolutionary new levels of access for all individuals. Building on this original partnership, U of M-Dearborn has an outstanding history of providing opportunity and serving the public good, the greater good, the common good, not in a paternalistic way, not as elites dispensing advantage, but in the most practical, relevant, and impactful way. Today, we continue to be committed to providing a transformational education to a diverse, talented, and motivated student body, where 43% of our students are Pell eligible, 38% are first generation to go to college, and 44% have dependent care responsibilities. And so, in keeping with this inspiring tradition, I look forward to partnering with all of you to build on our distinguished legacy with a renewed commitment to pedagogical innovation, student success, and an uncommon education for the common person. But because of our roots, U of M-Dearborn is commonly identified with engineering, the sciences, and business. Not surprisingly, because we started as a partnership with Ford. However, we are not defined by singular ways of knowing. Our campus community realizes the importance of other necessary skills, such as critical and diverse modes of thinking, multiple perspectives, thoughtful discernment, and compelling and effective communication. U of M-Dearborn is dedicated to providing all those who pass through our halls a broad and holistic education, where an understanding of the human condition, the human record, and human desires can engender the fullness of our human potential, the common good. And we take pride practically in providing an education that prepares our students not only for their first job, but for their sixth job as well. But how will U of M-Dearborn continue to serve that end and build on 60 years of excellence? In answering those questions and in thinking through our strategy for the future, I have sought inspiration from thinkers such as celebrated American philosopher John Dewey, champion of pragmatism and the common experience, who, as it happens, was for some years a professor at the University of Michigan. Isn't everybody? Right. And is buried on the University of Vermont campus. Dewey famously noted that education was not the preparation for life, but life itself. On occasion, when I was in Vermont, I would visit Dewey's gravesite and read the inscription on his tombstone. The things in civilization we prize are not ourselves, but passing on our heritage of values, more widely accessible and more generously shared than we have received it. I have adapted some of Dewey's thinking for what I consider the necessary tenets of a well-regarded education along three simple lines: currency, luxury, and legacy. By currency, I mean that education, our education, must provide students with the ability to make a living. It must equip them with the right skills to be a valuable currency in the marketplaces in which we all live. By luxury, I mean that education should enable students to pursue the work that they love. It should inspire in them a thirst for continuous learning, a growth mindset, with the certain knowledge that through persistent effort, they can excel and enjoy in their life's passion. For it is a true luxury to devote your life to what you love. And finally, by legacy, my sincere hope is that a U of M Dearborn education will instill a desire within every student to make a difference, to contribute to the common good, to leave the world a better place than they found it. Ruth Simmons is well known as a leader who established a legacy of leaving institutions in better form for her having been there. When she stepped down as president of Brown, she's really wondering where I'm going with this. When she stepped down as President of Brown, the New York Times published an interview with her in which she wisely noted, "There is nothing worse than a leader who lacks ambition." Keeping Simmons and Dewey's wisdom in mind, and in setting a course for the future of this special institution, I've developed some bold objectives for my time as Chancellor. These goals build on our legacy of excellence and are aggressive, ambitious, obtainable, and I believe absolutely essential. They may not be achieved during my first term, and they can never be achieved by one lone individual. But together, working as a community, united in purpose, and committed to the success of this campus, we can generate irreversible momentum, make measurable progress, and realize our future of promise. So what exactly are the future objectives of U of M Dearborn, and how should we proceed? First, we must continue to significantly increase both retention and graduation rates to a steady and predictable 70% or better. We can accomplish this not only by continuing to provide superb and relevant education, but also by wrapping our students in all the resources and support services that they need to succeed. Although we've made progress in this area recently, we need to take it to the next level. Second, in order to improve educational access, address the talent gaps throughout the state, and meet the needs of expanding markets, we must dare to significantly increase the number of students we serve, potentially doubling enrollment in the coming 5 to 10 years. Closely coupled with enrollment growth must be a significant increase in available student aid. Inevitably, our recruitment efforts will make this campus learning community a stronger and more diverse venue in terms of race, ethnicity, socioeconomics, life experience, geography, and perspectives. Third, we must continue to serve as a powerful engine of our economy, leveraging the talent of our distinguished faculty and taking full advantage of their scholarly potential, doubling our research metabolism. Our faculty, working with our students, must and will play a larger role in exploring new ideas, questioning assumptions, seeking alternative explanations, and formulating the desperately needed policies and solutions for the most pressing challenges of our time. Fourth, by continuing to collaborate closely with our partners in business, industry, government, and the nonprofit sector, we will continue to offer the excellence of a Michigan degree in emerging, exciting, and relevant fields with a Dearborn drivetrain. Penultimately, to support and fuel our vision for the future, we must identify and in some cases create new revenue streams. This will involve significant increases in our philanthropic enterprise and will also involve finding new, innovative ways to conduct business and to deliver education. It will also involve forging more and even stronger consequential alliances with external partners. Finally, and perhaps most important, we must discover how to educate differently. Of course, that includes exploring new modes of delivery, new ways of organizing our departments, our classes, our internships, new ways of engaging and supporting our students. Achieving these goals and creating the vital future for U of M Dearborn is a collective enterprise, a group endeavor. Without doubt, there remain many exciting and revolutionary advances which we will witness in our lives. Equally certain is that the challenges and opportunities we face will require our collective genius, imagination, and resourcefulness. Working continuously to provide an uncommon education, we will contribute meaningfully to the heroic saga and destiny of the common individual, and make a difference not only for our state, but for our nation and our world. Make no mistake, this is a pivotal moment, not only for our university, but for higher education in general, whose public trust has been abrogated. We at the University of Michigan-Dearborn have big ideas and high hopes. So let us begin this journey together, knowing that through our collective action, creativity, and determined effort, we can make a profound difference. And in closing, I would like to adapt the words of my children before they took to the excitement and challenge of the playing fields. It's now time to go big or go home, but always go blue.
The theme of today's celebration is aptly a legacy of excellence, a future of promise. We issued a challenge to our extremely talented, dedicated, and creative students, putting out a call for students to craft a poem that captured the essence of this theme. Submitted poems were evaluated by our Writing Center's faculty. I am pleased to welcome our student poem winner, Matthew Falconer, a senior studying electrical engineering in our College of Engineering and Computer Science, who will share his interpretation of A Legacy of Excellence, a Future of Promise. Matthew.
In September, the acorns arrive, bouncing, skipping, and scurrying along footpaths, as we all once did, seeking eagerly our nourishment, a patch of soil where upon us light is shed. In an empty Fairlane field, the wayward seed finds company, for here a new crop takes root, peeking out of the dirt ever so curiously, twisting upwards ever so industriously. This dense thicket of questions, this wild grove of thoughts, this humble garden of hungry minds aspires to fill this empty field. For burgeoning minds like saplings grow, their roots clinging perilously to the thinnest thresholds, their shoots reaching blindly into the unknown, their budding leaves gasping for a breath of light passed down to them by towering mentors, gentle giants, whose green stems graduate into oaken trunks, whose weathered bark bears knobs and grooves and burls like wrinkles on the brain. Seasoned with knowledge, they gather wistfully on the campus fringe, their boughs stooping low to inspect the empty earth, their branches brushing past one another in the wind. Conspiring, they whisper with 1,000 thistled tongues. Let us install into this vacant ground a new voice in the next debate, a stretch of shade in tomorrow's sun, a wholesome fruit in a future autumn, a fresh mind for our tired puzzles, a shelter in the coming storms, an earnest shoulder for the burdens yet to bear. Let us plant a seed today. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Well done. This concludes today's ceremony. Thank you all for joining us to honor and welcome Domenico Grasso. We will continue to celebrate our university and our new chancellor with a community reception at Fairlane, the home of Clara and Henry Ford. Following the recessional, please exit the field house. There will be many volunteers to direct you to the reception at Fairlane, which is a short walk from the field house, or you may take a shuttle to Fairlane, which will run until 6 p.m. between the field house and Fairlane. We hope you all will join us to continue the festivities. The Friars and the marching band will now lead us in singing the Yellow and Blue. The words to the song will be displayed on the screens. After singing the Yellow and Blue, the Friars and marching band will lead us in the singing of the victors, and then the recessional out of the field house.